Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Life with Limits. This is not a particularly brilliant day for me today, it has to be said. In the last week I have been trying to do a little bit more. It's been quite a busy week, and I'm pretty sure there should have been a couple of rest days in there, but there wasn't. So oops, and I think the last few days have actually caught up with me, which I have now am aware that it possibly related to mitochondrial malfunction, which I had blood tests for and wrote a blog post about over at my blog, which is in the link down thingy there, JustGeebs.co.uk, so it's down there, and I wrote a blog post about the mitochondrial malfunction test. And suffice to say, to paraphrase the whole thing, I have malfunctioning mitochondria. They aren't. Read the blog post. I'll put the direct link to it in the description. So yeah, but it can take a few days for the stuff the fatigue and what have you to catch up, which I know a lot of people with chronic fatigue do experience anyway. But I had the blood test done, and they say that that's why, or one of the reasons why, of course. So yeah, but I mean, I've done more in the last week than I thought I would have done. I went. A couple of friends of mine got married. What's my hand doing? A couple of my friends got married a few weeks ago, and they had a wedding reception, which they invited all their friends to, and they invited me as well, which was only about a mile and a bit down the road. So I thought, yes, actually, I probably could try and make it to that one. I shall make an appearance, say hello, and then go home and rest, because the whole social thing is something I haven't done in a good eight years or so. So I went for about 10 to 20 minutes or so. It was lovely to see them, but the chatting part of it and seeing people was exceedingly tiring, and I didn't realise how tiring it would be. And usually I don't realise how tired I am or something has been until I've done it and my hand's doing the thing again. So while I was chatting it seemed okay, but then as soon as I finished chatting I thought, actually, I should probably go. We were starting walking back to the car. I went in my wheelchair because I didn't want to have to do the standing around and walking, because then I'd have to find somewhere to sit, and then I'd have to walk to and from the car, and that's just far too much. So I thought I would limit the amount of energy that I was expending, because I thought that the social stuff would be exhausting anyway, and it was. You know, on the way back to the car it really started to hit me, and I felt extremely tired. But nevertheless I did it, and I really should have done a couple of rest days after that. But the next day we had relatives visiting, and then the next day we had a surveyor come out for the porch, and I had to sort him out a bit, so that was a little bit standing around, and that was tiring. So really, this is my 11th year of having chronic fatigue, I am still rubbish at looking after myself. Obviously I'm better than I have been at looking after myself. I'm more aware of some of the things that I should be doing, but generally I still absolutely suck at consciously having a rest day and consciously looking after myself, which, when I have really bad days like the last few that I've had, it's really frustrating, because you think, I know, 11 years I've had this, and I really should be better at this than I am. So I think it's a conscious effort, I think, is needed to look after myself a little better. Surely that's not difficult. But obviously, I want to have some sort of life. I want to feel like I have a semi-normal life. But again, I think that goes back to accepting the normality that you are living in now, as opposed to the normality you think you perhaps should be living in. So yes, that's really just what I've done. I'm still not brilliant, but I go through this boom and bust, I suppose it is, cycle where I start to feel a bit better and I do a little bit more, but I do too much, and then it goes back to not feeling well again. But then when I don't feel well, I don't do much, and then when I start feeling better again, I do a little bit more, and then I do too much, and then it goes back down. And that's the boom and bust cycle, which I'm sure many of you can sympathise with or empathise with, whichever one or both. In other news, I'm doing my employment and support allowance stuff, which is a complete nightmare, with the appointments and medicals and just trying to get everything sorted out. They tell me that I have to have a medical, even though I write down on my form I can't walk more than 50 metres, so they say I have to go 10 miles to this place, the centre 10 miles away, and have a medical. No, can't do that. Say that I can't do that, and I would like to have a home medical, and that's horrendously inconveniencing them, apparently. So I had to fax off doctors' letters and what have you to different places and say why I wanted it and to prove that I need it and blah blah blah. And then I got a letter back saying that I've got to go to a job centre plus thing appointment, and that's in Basingstoke, which is a good 35 minutes drive away. No, can't do that either, so I have to phone them up and say, yes, no, we have agreed in the past that I was going to have it by phone, because we have done, and even though I've got a new person, surely it should be on my account, so I'm having it by phone, and all of this sort of stuff, having to... the appointment was actually yesterday, and nobody phoned. So, why put us through all of this hassle if you're not actually going to be organised enough to go through with it? So, you know, if it's in the morning, which I have done in the past, they say, right, well, our only time that we can get for you is 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay, that's fine. If I've had a horrendous day the day before, I will want to sleep in because I'm exhausted. But instead I will have to get up at 9:30 in the morning, get to a phone, make sure that I'm up and able to talk to somebody and take notes and what have you, and then they don't call, which is not helpful in the slightest. But this is an ongoing thing, and it's something that a lot of people I've spoken to about ESA go through, and it's utter rubbish, because it's so frustrating and it's so tiring and it's so exasperating, and that the whole process in itself is exhausting. So if you have had bad experiences or any experience with employment and support allowance, disability living allowance, which I am trying to apply for at the moment, then let me know in the comments or on my blog. Talking of which, on my blog I'm trying to compile a list on the blog of support groups that people can go to on the internet, so, you know, forums or Facebook groups and such like. I want to compile a good list of ones which have been tried and tested by people and are known to be very helpful. I want to focus on positive ones, because I have been on a couple of support groups before, and a lot of it was focused on the negative, which was not particularly helpful. So if you know any really positively focused support groups for ME, CFS, fibromyalgia and such like, let me know in the comments down here, or send me a message, or drop me a comment on the blog, or what have you. But yes, as this is getting up to 9 minutes, I shall be quiet and then go and have a rest. So, nice to speak to you all, and I hope you're all doing okay and not too bad. Look after yourselves, remember to pace. I'm rubbish at it, but I'm going to try. Toodaloo, bye.